thinking you like crazy, and you have left a very powerful mark on this person. This feels intense already because no matter how hard they try to focus on other things, your energy keeps interrupting their thoughts, their routine, and even the quiet moments they try to keep under control. So let us first take a look at what is the overall energy between you and this person right now. We have the Devil, the Page of Cups, and here is Obsession, and wow, here is Magnetic Pull coming through as well. So this is not casual at all. I feel like this is someone whose mind keeps circling back to you, replaying words, replaying moments, replaying looks, replaying feelings, and replaying what you meant to them. And for many of you, this person did not expect to be affected this deeply. I feel like they thought they could handle it, or maybe just keep it moving, or maybe tell themselves it was only attraction, but it goes much deeper. Here is trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith. So if you have been wondering whether this person is really still feeling all of this, I do feel like the answer is yes, very strongly. Because even if they are not showing much on the outside, there is a lot happening within them. There is a lot of thought, a lot of emotion, a lot of watching, and a lot of inner processing going on right now. Here is the moon. Wow. Yes, this person is hiding so much. I feel like they're keeping the depth of these thoughts very private because it would make them feel too exposed to let you see that. For many of you, this is someone who likes to appear composed, calm, maybe detached, maybe even hard to read. But underneath that surface, I feel like there is a storm of memories, longing, curiosity, and emotional pressure. Here is loyal heart, and here is memories. Wow. So yes, this person keeps returning to the bond and to the way this connection got underneath the surface with them in a way they are not used to. And even if this connection was brief for some of you, I still feel like it left a strong imprint. And for others of you, if this has been going on for quite a while, then I feel like they know in their heart that you are not just anybody. Here is silence and here is longing. So I feel like this is why the situation may have been so confusing, because the silence can make it seem like nothing is happening when actually so much is happening internally. This person is doing a lot of silent missing you, silent replaying, silent questioning, silent wondering, and silent feeling. And I feel like they are especially overthinking the emotional parts because you made them feel seen. Here is the Lovers. Wow. Okay, so this is not just obsession for the sake of obsession, and it is not just ego, and it is not just physical attraction either. There is a genuine bond here, a real emotional tie. But I feel like the intensity of the bond is exactly what has made this person start overanalyzing everything. Because when a connection touches someone this deeply, and they are used to control, they do not always know how to respond. Instead of moving naturally, they can start freezing, second guessing, pulling back, or trying to sort everything out in their head first. And I feel like that is exactly what this person has been doing with you. Here is retreat, time alone, or nature will help you recharge. So for many of you, either you stepped back or they stepped back, or both of you have had some kind of pause, distance, or emotional withdrawal here. But I feel like the distance has not weakened the bond. If anything, it has made the thoughts louder, because once someone is no longer right there, that is often when you realize how much they affected your mind and heart. Here is the Eight of Swords, and here is the Knight of Pentacles. Yes, this person is trapped in their thoughts, but very slow to act. They are overthinking every possible message, every possible move, and every possible outcome. For many of you, they are wondering what they should say, how you would receive them, whether too much time has passed, whether they already handled things badly, and whether they still have a chance with you now. So the main message coming through right away is that you have stayed with this person. Your energy lingers with them. Your words linger with them. Your warmth lingers with them. And they have not been able to let that go. Okay, let us take a look now at where you are in this connection, because I feel like many of you have been sensing this intuitively, even if you do not yet have all the outer confirmation that you might want. We have the High Priestess, the Queen of Cups, and here is intuition. Yes, you already know this person is not over you because you have been feeling their energy very strongly, even without concrete proof in front of you. I feel like there are moments where they cross your mind and it feels random, but for many of you, it is not random at all. It is because this person is thinking about you at the very same time. And I feel like your heart has been very open in this connection. You care deeply. You may still care deeply. But I also feel like you have been trying to protect yourself because this situation has stirred up so much emotion in you. Here is mirror. Wow. So, yes, there is mirroring here. This person overthinks you and you can feel them, and maybe you try to move on mentally, but then the energy comes right back around again. Sometimes I feel like what makes this harder for you is that you do not just miss them. You miss the emotional depth of what this connection awakened in you, and the sense that something very important was being touched here. Here's the Five of Cups. Yes, there has been sadness here. There has been disappointment here. And for some of you, there is regret around how things played out or how things were left between the two of you. And here is patience. I feel like you have been incredibly patient in this situation, maybe more patient than most people would be, because something in your heart kept saying that this is different and not just another passing connection. And I feel like that is exactly what made it so hard to simply shut the door and move on completely. Because deep down, you kept feeling like there was more here, more to understand, and more that had not been finished. Here is the Page of Wands and the Two of Swords. So part of you still wonders if there could be a new spark here, a message, an opening, a shift, but another part of you feels frozen and unsure of what to think anymore. You are caught between hope and self-protection. And I feel like because this person has not fully made things clear, you have had to hold so many unanswered feelings inside of yourself for far too long now. Here is self-worth. And that is beautiful because I feel like you are learning a lot about your own value through this situation. Yes, this connection has hurt. Yes, it has brought up longing. Yes, it has made you question a lot. But I also feel like it has shown you how deeply you are capable of loving, how loyal you are, how compassionate you are, and how much you truly have to offer to a real relationship. Here's the Six of Pentacles. So many of you gave so much to this bond, your energy, your understanding, your patience, your kindness, and even your willingness to see this person through the lens of compassion. And maybe there are moments where you look back and think, did I give too much? But I feel like your heart was genuine and it was not wrong. The issue here is more that the balance has not fully met you yet. And I feel like that is what has been painful. Not that your love was too much, but that this person has not matched your openness in a steady and clear way. Here is the Queen of Swords. So I do feel there is a stronger boundary growing in you now. And I actually like this because it does not mean the love is gone. It means you are trying to love yourself too. You are trying to become more honest with yourself about what you deserve. And you know you cannot keep carrying all of it alone. Here is the Four of Pentacles. Yes, you are holding back more now. You are not as quick to reveal everything that you feel, and you are protecting your heart more carefully than you once did. And I feel like this person can sense that shift in your energy, which is one of the reasons they are overthinking you so much. Because now they do not fully know where they stand with you, and that uncertainty is getting to them. Maybe before they felt your openness very clearly, but now there is more mystery around you, more silence around you, more self-control around you, and that has made them even more mentally consumed. Here is the Star. Wow. So despite everything, I still feel this very pure thread in your energy. You have not become bitter in your core. You may be hurt, tired, confused, and guarded, yes, but there is still softness in you. There is still hope in you, and I feel like Spirit is asking you to keep pouring that light back into yourself right now, because the more you return to your own center, the more everything becomes clearer for you. This connection is teaching you that you should never have to shrink your needs to keep a bond alive. The right love will be able to meet the depth you bring without you having to beg for clarity, effort, or emotional presence. And here is warmth. I miss you and your warmth. Yes, I feel like they would say this too because they miss how you felt to them. Okay, let us take a look at this person more directly. Their mental energy is all over this reading. So where are they right now when it comes to you? Here is the Eight of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Six of Cups. Yes, this person is absolutely caught up in memories of you. I feel like they are replaying conversations, replaying your expressions, and replaying what they wish they had done differently. And because the King of Swords is here, I feel like this is someone who tries to rationalize their feelings. They do not always just sit in emotion comfortably. They want to understand it, define it, control it, and maybe even suppress it. But the more they try to control it, the more their mind keeps circling. Here is nostalgia and here is unfinished business. Yes, this person does not feel done with you, not by a long shot. Even if there has been silence, even if there has been distance, and even if things seem paused or unclear, I feel like inside of them there is this awareness that something about this connection still needs to be addressed. And that is part of what keeps them overthinking, because unfinished energy has a way of staying loud in someone's mind. And I feel like this connection has stayed very loud in theirs. Here's the Hermit. So this person is doing a lot privately and a lot internally. I feel like they may not be sharing their full feelings with anyone, or if they are, it is very limited. They are thinking in circles on their own, and for some of you, they could be checking on you from a distance, quietly wondering what you are doing, how you are feeling, whether you have moved on, and whether you still think of them too. Here is Go Slow. Take time to get to know each other. I feel like this card is very much about their pace. This person is slow or cautious or hesitant or just someone who does not know how to move smoothly through intense emotions. When it comes to practical life, routine, goals, and work, they may be very strong. But when it comes to a connection that touches their heart this deeply, they get unsure and guarded. Here is the Two of Pentacles. Yes, they are juggling a lot mentally. And I also feel like they keep trying to put you on one side of the scale and their daily life on the other side. But the issue is that you do not stay contained there. Your energy keeps spilling into their day, into their focus, and into the quiet spaces where they are trying to pretend they are unaffected. Here is release. And I feel like this person has tried to release the connection mentally, but they have not been able to. Or maybe they are trying to release old pain, old baggage, or old patterns that are making it difficult to come toward you. Because I do not get the sense that this person is unaffected. Not at all. I get the exact opposite. I get someone who is deeply affected. Here's the Page of Cups. So there is tenderness here, there is softness here, there are feelings here, and I feel like at times this person wants to reach out in a sweet way, say something simple, and test the waters with you. But then the overthinking comes in. What if it is too late? What if you do not respond? What if they open up and feel exposed? What if this becomes more real than they are prepared for? Here is fear. Exactly, and here is the Fool. This is fear of taking the leap, fear of stepping into the unknown, and fear of what happens if they actually admit to themselves how much you matter to them. Because once they really accept that, then they cannot hide behind distance in the same way anymore. Then they would have to do something, and I feel like action is exactly where their anxiety increases. Here is procrastination, and here is the Knight of Swords reversed. Yes, this person can think and think and think, but when it comes to acting, they stall, they delay, they wait, they circle back, they talk themselves out of things. They tell themselves maybe later, maybe when the timing is better, maybe when they feel clearer. But I feel like no amount of waiting has made you disappear from their mind. If anything, the waiting has made the thoughts louder. And here is the World. So yes, for some of you, this person is very wrapped up in work, status, goals, and their bigger life path. And that is part of why they move the way they do. But at the same time, I feel like they know what they felt with you is rare. So there is this inner conflict in them between the life they are building and the connection they cannot stop thinking about. Here is the Two of Swords. So again, indecision, stalemate, and mental deadlock. They are stuck between what they feel and what they are prepared to do. And that has created so much pressure in their head right now. But please know, this is not someone who forgot you. This is someone who is mentally consumed, trying very hard not to show it, and not doing a very good job hiding it energetically either. Deeply. Okay, so let us look at what this person would actually say to you if they stopped overthinking for a moment, because there is a lot in their heart that has not been spoken. Here is the throat chakra, the Ace of Swords, and honesty. Wow, so yes, there is truth that wants to come forward here. This person has been holding so much in, and it is weighing on them. And for many of you, I feel like what they would first want to say is that they have not been able to stop thinking about you. And that honestly surprises even them. Here is confession, and here is I miss you. Yes, very straightforward. I feel like they miss your energy, your warmth, your softness, and the way you made them feel. You left an imprint that they keep revisiting in their mind. Here is the Nine of Swords. So even at night, I feel like this person thinks about you, especially when the distractions go down. There you are again. For some of you, late at night or in the quiet parts of the day. that is when you come in strongest for them. Here's I should have said more, and here is regret. Yes, they feel they held back too much, or they did not handle something properly, or they let their own fear, pride, routine, or confusion get in the way. And I feel like one of the biggest things they overthink is whether they ruined something that was actually very special. Here's the Six of Wands. This is interesting because I feel like they admire you a lot. They may not have told you that enough, but I feel like they see you as someone memorable, magnetic, attractive, and significant. You stand out to them, and even if they try to distract themselves, no one quite hits the same, and that only makes them think of you more. Here's comparison, yes, for some of you, whether they mean to or not, they compare others to you. And that only makes the overthinking worse because it reminds them again that the mark you left was not small. Here's the Emperor. So this person may want to look in control from the outside. They may want to look fine, steady, focused, and unaffected, but inwardly, they are much softer about you than they show. And I feel like if they were completely honest, they would admit that you got through their defenses. Here is vulnerability. Exactly. And for many of you, that is part of why this person has hesitated so much, because what you stirred in them is real, and real feelings require real vulnerability. And that is where I feel this person gets nervous, because once they open that door, then they cannot pretend this is nothing. Here is the Two of Cups. Wow. So yes, they feel the bond. They feel the mutuality, whether they fully understand it or not. I feel like they know there was something important here and something worth protecting. And I feel like what they would say is, I did feel this too. I did feel the connection. I did feel the pull. You were not imagining it. Here as I replay our moments. Yes, this is exactly the theme. They revisit certain meetings, certain messages, certain shifts in energy, certain goodbyes, and they ask themselves what it all meant and what you meant. Here is the Hanged Man. So they are suspended. They are still seeing this from different angles, still trying to understand themselves, still trying to understand you, and still trying to understand the timing of it all. But while they are in that suspended place, the thoughts do not stop. Here's the Moon again. So there is still hidden emotion here, still uncertainty, still secrecy, and still a lot that has not yet been spoken aloud. And I feel like if this person did fully come forward, one of the things they would admit is that they got scared by how deep this went, not because it was bad, but because it mattered so much. Here's I thought I had more time. Wow, yes. For many of you, they may have assumed the connection would stay where it was while they figured themselves out, or that you would somehow still be there in the same way. But I feel like once they sensed your energy pulling back, or sensed that something had shifted inside of you, the overthinking got even stronger, because then it became real that they could actually lose you. And here is Judgment. So there is this awakening in them, this realization, this sense that this connection is not something they can keep treating casually in their own mind. They know it touched them very deeply. And if they spoke from the heart without all the fear around it, I feel like they would say, you have stayed with me. You got under my skin in the deepest way. And I still do not feel done with this. Here is warmth in my heart for you. Yes, because despite all of the overthinking underneath it, there is affection, longing, and real tenderness. And that is exactly why this has stayed with them the way it has, because you were not just a passing thought to them. You became something they still carry and something they have not fully been able to put down. They still care deeply. Okay, so let us take a look at what is actually blocking this person, because that is the biggest issue here. It is not a lack of thought, impact, or feeling. The biggest issue is what they do with all of that. Here is the Eight of Pentacles, the Four of Swords, and avoidance. Yes, this person buries themselves in tasks, routine, work, and distractions when emotions get too strong. It is like they try to settle themselves by going back into what feels familiar and manageable. And because you stirred so much in them, I feel like they responded by trying to organize their life more tightly, or by withdrawing into their own controlled space. Here is self-indulgence, focus on self-worth, time to heal, shadow work, and self-appreciation. So Yes, this person is very self focused right now, but I do not feel that this is because you do not matter. I feel it is because they are not handling their internal world very smoothly. They are trying to keep themselves together and trying to stay functional. Sometimes people who are not good at emotional openness become even more self focused when they feel vulnerable because it is their way of regaining control. And I feel like that is what is happening here. Here is the Four of Cups. So there is emotional resistance here. They can feel the opportunity and they can feel the bond, but there is still hesitation around accepting it fully and moving with it in an open way. And I feel like the reason is that once this becomes real in action, it changes everything. Then it is no longer just a thought they can carry privately, then it becomes a choice, a risk, and a movement. Here is fear of rejection. Yes, I feel this strongly. For some of you, this person is overthinking because they do not know how you would receive them now. Maybe too much time has passed, or maybe they know they disappointed you. Maybe they feel they already created distance and now they do not know how to bridge it. And that uncertainty is keeping them in their head. Here is the Five of Swords. So they do have this defeated energy around the situation at times, not because they do not care, but because they may think, what if I already messed this up? And what if I already let too much happen? That inner defeat can keep someone stuck just as much as pride can. Here's the Knight of Pentacles. Again, very slow energy. This person is not quick, and when they are overwhelmed, they become even slower. They want certainty before movement, but emotional matters rarely give that kind of certainty in advance. Here is timing. Yes, for many of you, this has been a timing issue as well, and that has made the whole thing even heavier. Maybe the bond came in when they were focused on other things, or maybe they were not prepared, or maybe they were still carrying old emotional weight and trying to keep themselves from feeling too much again. And I feel like they keep trying to solve the timing in their mind before taking action, but life does not always work that way. Here's the devil. So, yes, I do feel there are patterns here that are very strong. Overthinking, avoidance, fear, control, and maybe even a habit of suppressing softer emotions. And those patterns can make this person feel trapped inside themselves. They know what they feel, but they do not know how to move cleanly with it. Here is the Queen of Cups. Wow. And this tells me that your energy is exactly what has softened them, and that is part of what shook them up. You brought up their feelings, you brought up their heart, you made things more emotional, more meaningful, and more intimate than they expected. And while that is beautiful, it also made them very uncomfortable. Here's hidden tears. Yes, some of them are a lot more emotional over this than they would ever admit. And I feel like they are especially emotional over the thought that they may have hurt you, disappointed you, or missed something. Here's the Tower. So, yes, this connection shook them. It disrupted something in their usual way of coping, their usual way of distancing, or their usual sense of control, and they are still trying to recover their footing. That is another reason for the overthinking. They are trying to mentally rebuild around a feeling that changed them. Here is the Ace of Pentacles. So I still feel the potential for something tangible here. I still feel that part of them wants a real beginning, something solid, something grounded. But to get there, they would have to move through fear, delay, and the habit of staying in their head instead of opening their heart. And that is why the message here is not that they do not care. It is that they care, and the caring has exposed where they still have growing to do. Here is pause. Yes, they keep stopping themselves before they act. And I feel like that has been the pattern again and again, even though the feelings themselves are still very much alive between the two of you. The fear is still very strong. Okay, so let us take a look at the near future energy here because I do not feel the story ends in silence forever. Let us see what wants to come through now. Here is the Knight of Cups, the Ace of Wands, and Trust. Wow. So there is movement trying to build here, and emotional expression is getting stronger. For many of you, this person is getting closer to a point where keeping everything inside is becoming harder than saying something because the thoughts and feelings have piled up so much. And the imprint you left has stayed so strong that eventually it creates pressure for movement. Here is Judgment again. Yes, awakening, realization, return, and something coming back around in a deeper way. I feel like this person is having to face the truth of what this connection means to them. And that does not automatically mean everything happens all at once, but it does mean they are not able to keep minimizing it. Here is communication, and here is the Page of Swords. So yes, I do feel there could be watching first, thinking first, and maybe even drafting something mentally many times before action actually happens. But communication is still strongly here. And if you have felt like this person has a lot they want to say, I would agree with that. The issue has been courage and timing, not absence of thought, care, or feeling. Here is the Sun. Beautiful. So I feel like clarity is coming. Things that have been hidden are not meant to stay hidden forever. And I feel more lightness ahead. I feel you coming back to yourself, feeling lighter again, feeling more confident again, and not staying trapped in confusion forever. Because no matter what this person chooses, you are meant to return to joy. And I actually feel that as you return to joy, that also shifts the energy of the connection. Here is resurrection. Yes, this is something reviving, something awakening, something not being as over as it once looked. And for some of you, this could absolutely be a reconnection, a message, a meeting, or simply a strong reopening of energy between you and this person. Here is divine timing. So yes, I do feel timing is important here. And I know that can be frustrating because when there is deep feeling involved, you want honesty and movement. But what has been delayed has also been teaching both of you something. For you, it has been teaching more self-value and more trust in your own intuition. For them, more honesty, more courage, and more emotional accountability. Here is the Two of Cups. Wow. So the mutual bond remains. I keep seeing this over and over. The feelings do not look one-sided to me. What looks uneven is expression, pace, and readiness, but not the bond itself. And that is a big difference. Here is the Six of Swords. So there is calmer energy ahead. I do feel the intensity begins to shift out of pure mental torment and into something that becomes more understandable. Whether that comes through a conversation, a realization, a clean closure, or a new start will vary. But the heaviness does not stay frozen. Here is the Star, beautiful hope, healing, restoration, and a return to what is true. And I feel like Spirit really wants you to know that the mark you left was not accidental and it was not imagined either. You came into this person's life for a reason. You awakened something. You softened something. You exposed something. And whatever happens next, that impact is real, and it is something they are still carrying. Here is my life as an experiment. I embrace the exploration. I love this as advice for you because it says do not put your whole life on hold while this person thinks. Because your life is not meant to shrink around someone else's hesitation. And I feel like the more you live fully, the more this energy finds its natural truth, whatever that truth is meant to become. Here is the Queen of Wands. Yes, come back into your confidence, your magnetism, your warmth, your beauty, and your power. You do not have to chase confirmation. The energy already shows that you matter deeply here. And once you fully stand back in that knowing, this person feels it even more strongly. Here is I want to reach out to you and talk. And here is I know I hurt you. Wow, so yes, I feel like this person does carry awareness. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not smoothly, but they know this connection affected you too. And I feel like what is coming is a stronger reckoning with what was left unsaid. So the overall message here is, yes, this person is overthinking you like crazy. Yes, you left a powerful mark. Yes, the bond is still alive. And the best thing you can do now is trust what you already feel. Protect your peace, stay open to truth, and let what is real come forward in the right way, because something meaningful is still moving beneath the surface here. Before we close this out, let us get a shadow message and then a light message from this person, because that will bring everything together. Let us see what wants to come through now. Here is the Knight of Cups, the Ace of Wands, and trust. Wow. So there is movement trying to build here, and emotional expression is getting stronger. For many of you, this person is getting closer to a point where keeping everything inside is becoming harder than saying something, because the thoughts and feelings have piled up so much. And the imprint you left has stayed so strong that eventually it creates pressure for movement. Here is judgment again. Yes, awakening, realization, return, and something coming back around in a deeper way. I feel like this person is having to face the truth of what this connection means to them. And that does not automatically mean everything happens all at once, but it does mean they are not able to keep minimizing it. Here is communication, and here is the Page of Swords. So, yes, I do feel there could be watching first, thinking first, and maybe even drafting something mentally many times before action actually happens. But communication is still strongly here. And if you have felt like this person has a lot they want to say, I would agree with that. The issue has been courage and timing, not absence of thought, care, or feeling. Here is the sun. Beautiful. So I feel like clarity is coming. Things that have been hidden are not meant to stay hidden forever. And I feel more lightness ahead. I feel you coming back to yourself, feeling lighter again, feeling more confident again, and not staying trapped in confusion forever. Because no matter what this person chooses, you are meant to return to joy. And I actually feel that as you return to joy, that also shifts the energy of the connection. Here is resurrection. Yes, this is something reviving, something awakening, something not being as over as it once looked. And for some of you, this could absolutely be a reconnection, a message, a meeting, or simply a strong reopening of energy between you and this person. Here is divine timing. So yes, I do feel timing is important here. And I know that can be frustrating because when there is deep feeling involved, you want honesty and movement. But what has been delayed has also been teaching both of you something. For you, it has been teaching more self-value and more trust in your own intuition. For them, more honesty, more courage, and more emotional accountability. Here is the Two of Cups. Wow. So the mutual bond remains. I keep seeing this over and over. The feelings do not look one-sided to me. What looks uneven is expression, pace, and readiness, but not the bond itself. And that is a big difference. Here is the Six of Swords. So there is calmer energy ahead. I do feel the intensity begins to shift out of pure mental torment and into something that becomes more understandable. Whether that comes through a conversation, a realization, a clean closure, or a new start will vary. But the heaviness does not stay frozen. Here is the star, beautiful hope, healing, restoration, and a return to what is true. And I feel like Spirit really wants you to know that the mark you left was not accidental and it was not imagined either. You came into this person's life for a reason. You awakened something. You softened something. You exposed something. And whatever happens next, that impact is real. And it is something they are still carrying. Here is my life as an experiment. I embrace the exploration. I love this as advice for you because it says do not put your whole life on hold while this person thinks. Because your life is not meant to shrink around someone else's hesitation. And I feel like the more you live fully, the more this energy finds its natural truth, whatever that truth is meant to become. Here is the Queen of Wands. Yes, come back into your confidence, your magnetism, your warmth, your beauty, and your power. You do not have to chase confirmation. The energy already shows that you matter deeply here. And once you fully stand back in that knowing, this person feels it even more strongly. Here is I want to reach out to you and talk. And here